Hi there. The other day I learned how to solve a Rubik's Cube, and I made a video about it, but I didn't show how to do it. I just kind of showed off to my friends about how to do it. So this time I want to make an actual video that will show you how to solve this thing. I learned from someone, I can't remember right now who it was on YouTube, but I learned actually from two people on YouTube. One of them was really good video, well done, but it was really confusing, and I think it's the Rubik's Cube way, like the official way to solve it, and I think that's a harder way than this way I'm about to show you. So I found this other guy who showed us how to do it, and it was way easier, except that the video was rather confusing. So I'm going to try to make it less confusing. I decided I'm going to try to do this in 3 parts. Hopefully it won't take 4. The problem is YouTube only allows 10-minute uploads. So let's go ahead and try to solve this thing. So first off, I'm going to spend this first video on just explaining how to do this thing, how the Rubik's Cube works. First off, this is the white side. No matter what you do, this side will always remain white, whether you turn it like this, turn it like this, turn it like this. That side never changes. I've had this thing totally apart, and I can prove it to you, but I'm not going to do it right now. This is the red side, this is the blue side, this is the orange side. So this middle piece is always that side color. Okay, so think about it as sides like that. Also think about it as pieces. So this is the white, orange middle piece here, right? And this thing can move this way, and that's about it. This corner piece can move all around, and you can move it over here and all that stuff. But these are all a bunch of pieces. Other than these middle pieces, all these pieces move around. Okay, and to prove to you that it's a piece, I'm going to show you how to cheat. You can just turn the cube like this. Any side, doesn't matter. This is a spoon I have laying right here. Get something under there. It's not too hard. Pry it up. There's a piece. There you go. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's some Vaseline in there. That was another trick. If you want to really get this thing really speedy, you can put that Vaseline or petroleum jelly, same stuff, inside of this thing, and your hands will get a little greasy for a little while, but eventually the outside will get all clean, and this thing really gets going. I actually cleaned it out the other day and got rid of all the stuff. So okay, how we're going to solve this thing is you got to solve it in layers. Most people solve these, solve a side and then screw it up by trying to solve a different side, and that's not how it works. First you got to solve the bottom part right here. So in a second I'll show you about how this is going to be the bottom, this is going to be the sides, this is going to be the top. I'm actually not going to use these colors. I'm actually going to use white as my top. And algorithms. Algorithms is also how you do it. Now, let me first show you the notation. Hopefully, when you're watching this video, you'll see the notation on the screen, because I think that's a really clever way to show the notation. But anyway, the notation I'm talking about is, so let's see, up. And what that is up clockwise. Now remember, you have to have a bottom and a top and a face. And this face changes. So for this time, we're going to have this green face for this algorithm tutorial. So this is up. That's because you're moving this up part here clockwise. Okay. Now, what if I said up inverted? Now, up inverted, I think it's an easier notation than up counterclockwise, and it takes less words to say. And that is just this. That's up counterclockwise, right? This is counterclockwise. This is clockwise. Now, sometimes when you're on this face, now where it gets confusing is when I say left clockwise, and that really looks like left down, because if you are looking at this, remember, hold it like this, but if you were looking at this left side, this would be clockwise, right? So there's left counterclockwise or left inverted. Same thing, right clockwise, or right. I'll just call it right instead of saying right clockwise. And then there's right inverted or counterclockwise. I can't remember right now off the top of my head because I'm nervous from making this video, but I can't remember if I used the bottom or not on this. But if I did, this is Now, I think the bottom's the most confusing. I don't think I do use it, but bottom inverted. It looks like clockwise almost when you're looking at it like this, you know, but it's actually inverted. So bottom clockwise would be like this. See, it's going clockwise. But something I will use on this is the back part here. You're looking at the face, but you have to turn the back, and that's luckily for this tutorial, it won't matter which way you turn it. It'll just be, because you'll actually turn it twice. And anytime you turn something twice, it doesn't matter which way you turn it, counterclockwise or clockwise, because it's you basically just turning the thing 180 degrees. Okay, next thing is get comfortable with this cube. So for right now, let's try to solve for this green side. So look around. Here's a green middle, and you know, anything that's in the middle like that, it's always going to stay in the middle. So that means that piece right here is going to end up here, here, or here. So how do we get it here? And this just takes practice. Just let's move this part up. Now if we move this here, boom, there's that green. And let's find another green middle and solve for that. There's the green middle. And now we don't want to turn it like this. Here's the green. I'm going to have my finger on this. We don't want to turn it like this, because then we're losing these greens right here, right? So instead, let's turn this over here. Here it is. And now we can turn this, and there you go. So I'm not going to go solve the whole thing, but you get the idea. That just takes time. Rubik's Cube is all about time and patience. When I did this thing, I watched some videos over and over and over. Same video, just always rewound it and all this kind of stuff. And then, you know, my wife would be knitting or doing whatever, and I'd just be kicking it on the couch, figuring this thing out. I have one of those personalities. I just can't put something down until I figure it out. And that's really, really key to this. So let me get back to the notation. Is you're going to learn algorithms, and an algorithm is doing the same thing. And if you do that same thing, it's going to move things. This is all sounding confusing, but it's going to move pieces, but it's going to also leave what you've already done. So for instance, green, and then this little V right here, right? So just remember that that's there. And then I'll do an algorithm. I'm already screwing myself up. How do we? Okay, forget what I just did. Okay, green, this little Tetris piece here, right? Okay, since you guys are, since I'm showing this, I'm getting a little confused, but let me just look at the cube instead of looking through the camera. Right, up, right inverted, up, right inverted. Now look, that Tetris piece is still there. It didn't do anything. It changed stuff up here. You don't know it because we didn't take a look at that real closely, but this is still the same. Now later on you'll see that move, let's see, what does that specific move do? That specific move will end up solving this whole top section. There's two moves to solve the top section. That's the second part of the solving. So that's an algorithm. That's an example of an algorithm. And hopefully I'll have the notation on the screen by the time you see this. It's all dependent on if I haven't edited too many videos in my life, so I'm more of a web guy. So get comfortable with it, and that's the first thing there. Remember that the faces will always change. So if I tell you that algorithm, right, inverted, up, right inverted, Tetris piece hasn't changed. Well, that's all dependent on this right. Now, if you do on this red side, that's your face for that specific move, depending on when you need to do that move. But so if you're doing halfway through the move and then you turn to this side, well, that's not going to work. Okay. So that's it for the first video. I hope you feel a little bit more comfortable with it. Again, you're going to have to watch this 1,000 times. It's just how it works. And in the end, you just got to remember this. Write this notation down. All this notation I'm about to give you, write it down and go off of that. Remember what the notation's for. All right, I'll see you on the next video.